So I am Summer. I head up customer advocacy at Zoho, and we're really excited to talk to a few of our customers today about their experience with Zoho Desk and really honing in on how we are helping to improve their customers' experience at the core. So let's go ahead and dive in. We've got three folks with us today, and I wanted to give everyone a little bit of a chance to introduce themselves. So first off, we have RJ Cox, who is the managing director at Evergreen Investments. RJ, would you mind saying a few words about your role at Evergreen?
Absolutely. At Evergreen Investments, I work with everything that's customer facing. So if there's a prospect, a problem, or a solution that needs to be offered, it's likely in my inbox.
I love that. And can you tell us a bit more about Evergreen? Because I think y'all have such a great mission as a company.
So we are in the real estate services space, and our mission is to help homeowners and prospective owners understand how they can invest in real estate, whether they're starting with their first home or their 10th rental property, and help to do the most possible with it, because sometimes you just don't know the options you have available to you until someone else with a different perspective goes, "Did you consider?" And the world opens up.
It's so true. Now, we also have Yafi with us from RJG. He is the user experience manager. Yafi, let's hear a little bit more about RJG and your role there.
Sure. RJG is a training and technology company. We have offices in 7 different countries with 150 different people. In 2019, we implemented Zoho CRM and Zoho Desk. So I helped lead and facilitate that implementation within RJG.
Fantastic. And can you remind us a little bit more about RJG as a company? What do you all do? What's your focus?
Yes, we provide training and technology in the plastic injection molding space. Sorry, Summer. So we don't make a plastic, but we train engineers and give them the technology to make sure they're reducing waste and making good quality parts.
Fantastic. And then we're also joined by Connor England, who's with Garda World Security Systems and Technology. He is their software and database manager, so really right in the heart of the deployment. Connor, can you tell us a little bit more about Garda World and your role there?
Yeah, absolutely. Garda World is a security company. I work in the security systems space, so that's home security and businesses, systems like access control and fire panels and all that kind of stuff. I develop all of our internal systems and run a small team that does that. So we use Desk a lot for communicating with other employees at Garda so they can submit requests, enhancements, and bugs to all of our items.
Fantastic. Now, I'd love to dive in a little bit more into each of your deployments with Zoho and specifically looking at Zoho Desk. Moreover, I want to look at how you are tackling customer service with Zoho. So I'm curious to hear a bit more from each of you about what you're using in that space. How is Desk functioning for you? What other tools are you using in conjunction with that? RJ, let's start with you.
Fantastic. So with us and Desk, we use it in two places. First is with properties that are for sale. When a owner decides they would like to sell, it goes into our database as a prospective property that our buyers can look at. So we use Desk to manage the intake process, and then it ties into a custom creator app that will run the analytics, present it in CRM as a potential sales opportunity, and continue the conversation with the prospective buyers.
Oh, fantastic. So it's almost working both on a lead generation side as well.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Connor, I know Desk and specifically your customer service kind of bridges gaps at Guard. I know you're using it quite a bit internally as well as a little bit externally. I'd love to hear a bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the internal deployment is for all the employees at Garda, anyone who has a bug with one of the existing workflows or processes, or someone who's identified an area where we can improve the automation. We have a few different ways we receive requests. In the CRM, we have buttons and a few workflows that automatically create tickets. The benefit of that is we can capture the record ID of the problem, and then that data gets right to us, so we can solve the issue without a lot of back and forth or meetings. And then we have a creator app, which is just so you can go straight there, fill out the information. It triggers the desk ticket, and then one of our developers will determine what type of ticket it is, if it's something that's broken and we want to handle it immediately, or if it's an enhancement or a new request that we want to scope out more. And so those get routed into Zoho Sprints, which is where the developers are able to action the items and then provide feedback that from desk tickets back to the user.
Fantastic. And I know you mentioned you're using things externally a bit as well. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, our external deployment is a lot more simple. We get email requests for our call center agents, and those all filter into Zoho Desk just to help organize them and then track the communication amongst the whole team so that it's not locked into one mailbox.
Oh, fantastic. And do you have any specific, automations or filters set up that help you kind of to see which is external, which is internal, and where those go?
Yeah, we use two different workspaces. And it's why initially wasn't even aware we had an external component until I was talking with more of the team, and they kind of showed me how it was working 'cause I didn't have visibility to it. So yeah, that's how we separate them. It's two different emails within Zoho Desk.
Perfect. Okay, great. Yafi, I'd love to hear a bit about your desk deployment as well. In what ways are you tackling customer service with Zoho, and what does that look like?
Yeah, we do a blend of internal and external customer service. Internally, our IT team uses Desk because there are a lot of channels to reach our IT team: Slack, Click, email, walking up to their desk. So it really allows them to collate all of our desk tickets and needs internally. We actually also use it for building maintenance. So we've got another workspace if there's any problems with our building or our facilities that can easily come into Desk, and we can resolve those issues quickly. And then the third is our customers, and it's customer facing. The injection molding industry is, on the manufacturing floor. There's lots of moving parts, and it's dirty and it's messy. And our technology goes into these spaces, and is often the customer often needs help and assistance with making sure that our technology is keeping up and continuing to catch bad parts. We don't want to put bad parts out there or low quality parts. So Desk is there for our ticketing system, and we're trying to decrease our customer resolution time. And Zoho has really helped us service our customers quicker and faster and better. And it also integrates with our CRM. So if a salesperson is out at a customer, they can pull up the CRM. All of our tickets come in from Desk into the CRM, into the customer record, and they can review them, and before they go to the customer, really understand what issues the customers are having, what the status of those issues are, what's been resolved, and just giving a really good 360-degree view of our customer before they go talk to a customer or are with a customer. So the Desk integration allows for that, and it's pretty awesome. It makes it easy for our sales team to create a better customer experience.
Oh, that's fantastic. And Yafi, this is something that I feel like we've talked about a little bit, which is, you are really concerned with understanding your customer and making sure that they feel heard and that you have an open line of communication there. There any other ways that you feel like Zoho has really helped to enable that or to support that process?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a software development team of 30 software engineers, and I run a design team. Every month, the design team gets a report from Desk and from our customer support manager, and we get with that team once a month to review Desk tickets to understand what usability issues our customers are having with our technology. It could be training, it could be a bug, it could be a usability issue like a button's not working or they need to swipe and they can't swipe. So we review those Desk reports, and it allows us to optimize what we're doing in the design of our applications to make sure our technology is continuing to solve the problems of our customer. So this is a pretty cool little cadence that we have once a month to make sure that feedback loop from our customer into Desk tickets into the design team, and that we're optimizing our technology around the issues that our customers are having.
Oh, that's fantastic. I really feel like that really brings, customer-focused development to the forefront, which is so important for a business like that. Similarly, RJ at Evergreen, I know you're really concerned with making sure that you have good transparency with your customers. What are some of the ways that you've been able to work on that using Zoho Desk and tackling your customer service in a way that really establishes open communication and transparency with your clients?
Great question. So we do it two ways. One, speed to response is the biggest thing. Before, with so much being done manually, it took hours to get through the backlog. And now, there's some customer functions and Zia's additional capabilities. We're moving a lot faster, responding in hours and minutes versus days. And so that helps tremendously in the customer service aspect because people feel heard, they get responses, and then they know someone's taking action on it. Second is then on the follow-up side, where customers come back with multiple issues, and then you start to realize, okay, if Sally's come back 5 times, there's something that's really wrong here. So internally, we take a look at some of those higher action customers and then prioritize what are we seeing systematically and building improvements into the system so then those don't become issues any further. And then one thing that isn't necessarily a desk requirement, but we do internally is we'll shout them out in our help forum and say, hey, thanks to customers like this that brought certain attention items to our concern, we were able to fix it to help everyone with a more robust system. And now to let them know, hey, if you have a concern as another customer, you can bring it to us. We'll do everything we can to help. But then it lets them know that we're taking action that wasn't an issue for you, but now if it ever becomes a challenge, it's already been solved.
Oh, that's fantastic. That open line of communication can do so much to drive things forward. Now, Connor, similarly, GardaWorld is a security company. So, being someone that's trustworthy and that can be trusted is obviously a big factor for you. In what ways do you see that playing into your customer service?
Yeah, I think in software development, user acceptance and user trust is such a big thing because you can build something, but if no one's willing to use it, management is going to tell you to get rid of it, right? So being able to respond to people quickly, they know when they reach out, they're going to get help, is incredibly important because it builds the trust. Even if we can't solve something today, or if it's going to take 2 months to solve, if we've built that trust over time, then they're going to know. And Zoho Desk definitely helps us manage that. Because we don't lose track of, this tickets. If someone's on vacation, we're not hearing about something because it's been exclusively in their mailbox. We can see all the communication. If I have to hop on a ticket in the middle of the night, no one else is online, I can see exactly what the other developers have been doing and talking and continue on with the support. So it's been invaluable in helping us build that customer trust for sure.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, I'd love to hear a little bit more about some of the nitty-gritties because I want to make sure that folks come away from this panel with some actionable items that they can use. So, Yafi, I would love to start with you, and I would love to hear about some of kind of your key features or key things that you've implemented in customer service that you found have made a real difference for RJG.
Oh man, so I guess we'll talk about what happened before Zoho. We were using spreadsheets to manage our desk ticket experience. And I remember when we were uncovering problems, reporting out on, from our customer support team took them hours and hours of compiling data to try to get to understanding of what's been happening with our customers. So being able to generate reports on issues with our customers give us actionable insights and allow us to prioritize the biggest heavy hitters, so then we can fix those issues out in the field or with our products. So the reporting is a huge issue, and again with the UX team, we're able to see the small facet of those reports that allow us to continue the feedback loop in terms of software development usability. So reporting is really awesome. Chat history is really awesome. And I think Connor hit on something. Recently we had a death in the family, not me, but one of our employees. And then somebody else was out in the field, and we were supporting the sales team. And anyway, our team got smaller. But the work didn't get smaller. But what was cool is that some of our engineers could jump into Desk and understand what was going on and support some of the open tickets that were there and close them out. And again, give the customers the experience that they deserve and the speed of fixing those issues quickly. So, besides reporting and history, being able to really collaborate with other team members was pretty special and really helped us.
Oh, fantastic. That's something that I think we've talked about with all three of you is really not only that transparency between you and your external customers, but that transparency and that collaboration internally. Connor, I'd love to hear a bit more about what kind of role that's played at Garda.
Yeah. For our internal customers, which is the majority of my implementation in Desk and how I've been using it, it's been I guess, like I touched on the last question, it's been useful for people knowing they're going to get a response from being able to share information in one place. We have a couple teams that use it. There's a projects team that handles some of the reporting and some of the documentation, procedure steps, process, that kind of stuff. And we are able to go in there and access each other's. They tag us in tickets all the time from the development perspective, and we do the same from their side. And it's been really useful, and we've been able to integrate it into other things with some default integrations, but also with some custom workflows and management as well. It's helped.
Oh, fantastic. And I'd love to hear similarly if there are any kind of key actionable insights or tips that you found with your customer service that you think would be helpful to share.
Uh, Yeah, well, one thing we do is adding custom fields to tickets, I think has been really helpful. The default layout doesn't always have all the information you need. And there's some metrics we started to track, like the cause of the issue. Was it a software bug? Was it a user training issue? Was it a data issue? And that really helps us build reports on where these problems are coming from, how we can reduce the number of tickets that come in. If all of our tickets are data related, then we can start looking into how do we clean up the data, how do we make sure we're keeping better data, and that's I think that's been an impact.
Fantastic. Now, how about RJ? I would love to hear from you. Any actionable tips that you think have really made a difference in your customer service?
Yes. So internally, I'll double click on everything that was mentioned before. The visibility across apps and the history is critical. So if a customer reaches out via text message or an email, that customer history is right there. If there's a sales conversation that's been happening and then it comes back into desk, the representative sees it. And likewise on the sales side, like, oh, while I'm talking to you about this sales opportunity, I also see that you're working on this. So nothing gets missed. It improves that external customer morale, but internally as well, it's the same function in reverse, where if we roll out a new feature and nobody understands how it works and everyone's dropping a ticket, like, I don't understand how this dashboard works. Okay, so we need to do a little bit of a training, a demo video or something like that. Or if a data set just wasn't imported properly, so everything's just doesn't work. And we get that the data's off. Oh, wait a minute, somebody imported this wrong. But because we can see why they're dropping a ticket, we know exactly how to prioritize it versus, okay, everybody's bored today, it's Friday. We can actually see, okay, there's a real issue here. Wait a minute, go back and re-import that. And all of a sudden it's fixed in 10 minutes at all and click. Hey, problem solved. Everybody have a great weekend.
That's such a great way to end a Friday, right? Just no one worry about a thing, take off.
Yes.
Now, I'd love to tackle a hot topic in customer service and in technology overall, which is AI. Obviously, it's something that can play a big role in customer service and to helping to scale things, but it comes with its own trade-offs. I'd love to hear a little bit more on each of your perspectives. Yafi, let's start with you.
Yeah, we currently do not use AI specific to desk. That doesn't mean we don't want to. We have started an initiative within my company where teams are exploring the value of different AI capabilities, no matter what app they're using or what team they're on. So we're not mandating AI usage. We are allowing teams to explore AI and see if it's going to fit what they do and if it can optimize things within their process or within the apps that they're using. So that is the current effort that we have going on from an AI perspective, kind of dipping our toes in. And my company's pretty conservative and pretty strapped in terms of the amount of work that we have. So it's something that we're exploring and something that we're excited about and something that can provide long-term value, even though the state of AI is very immature these days. But yeah, we're looking forward to the value that it provides us in the long term and sort of progressing into it over time.
Fantastic. Now, Connor, I'd love to hear a bit more from your perspective as well. What are some of the pros and cons? What's in use now? What's prospected for the future?
Yeah, absolutely. We're not using it in desk yet either, but I am happy I caught I think it was 2 sessions ago where they featured that, and it was really interesting seeing how it can be used in desk. As far as when AI and when it shouldn't be used, I think it really boils down to the right tool for the right job. I think if you try and replace every single tool in a workshop with a hammer, you're going to have a very hard time fixing anything. I think AI is really good at helping filter out the easy, consistent, easily understood issues, or ones that you can train it with knowledge base or example tickets. But at some point, a user is going to get frustrated dealing with an AI that's not able to help them or is giving them wrong answers consistently. And there needs to be live people who understand the tool well, who can provide that next level of support. And I think that's going to be the standard going forward for a little while yet, until, maybe when it develops more, it can get to the point where it can do that more complicated thinking.
That makes perfect sense. It's interesting too, because knowing that your company is kind of moving into some amount of, I believe you said you're moving into some kind of AI monitoring. Is that right?
Yeah. We just announced our eCam business, and we acquired Stealth Communications, and they do it's called eCam, so it's every camera always monitored, and they have security cameras. So there's live monitoring stations and there's AI monitoring, and the AI will flag certain cameras at customer sites. It's really interesting. Some of the demo footage, you can see how that all works. And then when it gets to a certain threat assessment or issue, it'll flag it. It'll come up in a monitoring station somewhere, and then a live person will be able to determine, do we call emergency services? Do we alert the customer, depending on the scenario?
Oh, that's fantastic. As a company that's kind of forward thinking in the AI space and also so firm on trust and security, it'll be really fun to watch how that develops over time. RJ, how about you? What's your thoughts on AI in the customer service space?
So initially we were excited about it, and we thought it would be a great way to answer a bunch of questions very cost effectively, time, speed, everything. But then we realized we're dealing with a lot of private information. Customers are talking about houses they own, places where they may be living in, and trusting it to a language model that has no promise of any security at all made us pump the brakes. So right now we've been testing Sales IQ to help get initial information enough so a representative can grab the ticket and take action on it. And now that Zoho's got their large language model integrated and their privacy policy is in line with how we would do it, we're now exploring different ways to use it, because now the information doesn't leave a safe ecosystem into the wild, wild west, and now all of a sudden you've got problems. And secondly, what we're testing internally is proximity matching. So let's say, for example, a customer's saying, hey, I'm interested in selling this house at 100 Main Street, and we've already had discussions with neighbors. You want to be able to give that intelligent answer as to, hey, here's how neighboring properties have performed, without being creepy with, well, your neighbor just came to us 2 days ago type of deal. And knowing how to have that conversation that's helpful, but not like you're looking through the curtain, so to speak.
That is such a good point. It's all about navigating that in a way that makes sense and works for the customer. I have one more question for them, and then we will absolutely take your question. So really, the last thing I wanted to dive into a little bit is a little bit more about your ecosystems. So all three of you are Zoho One customers that are using quite a bit of Zoho, but have a lot of that folded in with your customer service area. I would love to hear a little bit more about what integrations you have set up there that's really helping to enable not only better service for your customers, but better collaboration and transparency internally as well. Yafi, let's go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, we have a repairs team. We also have a small production facility that makes sensors. And anytime a repair comes in, we have an integration with Desk, which also integrates with CRM. And then we also have a creator app that tracks serial numbers. And so all of our products are accounted for and assigned to our different accounts. And so you can see that whether you're in the CRM, whether you're in the creator app that's connecting some of these things on the production floor, and all goes into Desk and really gives anybody that's customer facing or even internally a 360-degree view of the customer and what their needs are. So it's just pretty cool to integrate those specific Zoho apps together to create a better customer experience. We don't technically have anything external to Desk outside of Zoho. So yeah.
Fantastic. Connor, how about you? I know you've got some interesting stuff set up to enable your teams.
Yeah, so for tickets coming in, they really come from three places. We have a creator app for user submitted tickets. We have some kiosks and other workflows in the CRM to have tickets come in. We have automated tickets when we detect there's an issue. And then inside of Desk, we have all of the tickets. If they get approved and aren't just immediately closed, we will process them and move them into Zoho projects. So from a management perspective, they can track, for the development items specifically, they can track projects, how close they are to finishing, how much work's been done, how many bugs are currently open, how long it takes bugs to stay open. It's a manual integration now, but we're in the progress of transitioning to the default integration because of the comments matching in back and forth is really huge. And then from there, for the development items, they get triggered to be created in Zoho Sprints, which is where all of our developers live. And it helps display it's all the same information, but it's being displayed differently. And that helps the different teams because the projects team and the management team care a lot more about metrics and KPIs. The development team cares about scope details and contact and user stories. And then, Desk is kind of where we collect everything and then disperse it from there.
Oh, that's perfect. I love that kind of differentiation between, we know management is looking for analytics, so we're going to make that easy for them to see. We know developers are interested in the details, so we're going to give them those. One thing that really stood out to me as we were talking to is Zoho talks a lot about putting the functionality where people are already working. And I know you talked about you have a button set up in CRM to launch a ticket as well, which I think is very smart. Now, RJ, I would love to hear a little bit more from your perspective as well.
So CRM and Desk is where I spend 90% of my day. And 360 View is a beautiful place. What helps also is the whole projects. So now we can tie everything into what stage of the process we're in. And then likewise with analytics, because now you can spin up the dashboards and the reports that management's looking for without having to export everything or spend half a day trying to build it out. We've used a lot of deluge code before to custom build what we needed. And now a lot of the improvements in the native integrations are now having us go back and just press, click, and connect. And so that is taking a lot of development man hours back because now we're not fixing, fields need to be remapped or functionality needs to be added. It's just there now. So now Zoho's talking to Zoho, and all we've got to do is just keep doing the next thing that's in on the list.
Oh, I love that. Actually, just making it easy for you to focus on the work you need to do.
Exactly.
I love that. Well, I've got a couple more questions, but I will hold off because I know we've got a burning audience question. Can we get a mic over to him so I can hear him nice and clearly? Oh.
Sorry. Here, have a harmonic. Just this one. Thanks. Nice.
Thanks, and sorry. This question is for RJ. What made you comfortable with the AI policies of Zoho to trust it more?
Great question. Simplicity and transparency on how they process data. I mean, you see some of the billboards around in the convention hall about how they don't store your information on third-party servers, how data privacy is paramount in Zoho. We were very nervous about trusting it to another open model that we know is being trained on what they can find publicly on the web. And if somebody being nefarious wants to take this address information or this owner's information that we use to generate a query and have it exposed somewhere else, there's liability concerns on our end, and we just don't know where it can go. So that just made us say, nope, we're not pressing that button. We're just not going to integrate. We're just going to stay manual until we get a partner that trusts data privacy as much as we need it to be.
So anyway, if we don't have any burning questions, I will ask one more. Oh, go ahead, please.
With that same thought process, have you thought about, instead of the CP&I, just making FAQs, documents with FAQs that might answer those customers' information and general information with FAQs through either chatbot, LLM with articles, or your own individual website?
Okay, back to me. Okay, so yes, and it's a work in progress. So the first generation of chatbot responses sounded very robotic, and people knew they were talking to a bot and they didn't trust the information. Now that we can train them better, have a dialect, for lack of a better phrase, that sounds more natural, people feel like the conversation is more nuanced and tailored to them versus I'm getting a canned response that has nothing to do with what I'm asking. They're just spitting out information at me just to get me off the line. So we're exploring that now.
Oh, fantastic. Well, if you have a question, please raise your hand. But until we get to that, I wanted to get these folks. I'm curious what you have on the roadmap. What's next with your customer service deployment? What's coming up for you? Yafi, let's go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, I think they want to get into the AI game and see how AI can help optimize what they do and help better service the customers. So that project is in its infancy, and the team is pretty excited about it.
Oh, fantastic. Connor, how about you? What's next?
We're improving the data that we track. Like the example I gave is the cause. There's a few other things, the business unit, whether it's the sales team or operations team. We want to add that information into the ticket so that we can get a better view of where the requests are coming from. We're also deploying the default integration between desk and projects, and then projects and sprints, which is going to provide a lot of value. And then I caught the what's new in desk, and I think one of the coolest things I saw was the AI summary. So you can open up a ticket and you can see all of the different, like a summary of that ticket, effectively a short, sweet description of all the conversations. That ticket's been open for months, and there's dozens of emails back and forth and lots of data, and it can get pretty complicated. And I think that's hugely valuable. The automated responses sounded really good as well. So I think that's definitely something that we're going to look at doing in the next little bit.
Oh, fantastic. RJ, how about you?
We like to say that we use AI to automate the process and free the human. And so with that, we essentially say the 80% that can be built and processed allows our team to work on the thornier issues. So we're looking in different ways to automate the stuff that's routine. So now the big rocks that need to be moved, someone can dedicate more time to it, knowing that the other stuff they used to do all day is still being handled, and they're not having to work later on weekends to catch up because it's being done. And we can spend more face-to-face time with the bigger rocks.
That's a great way of looking at it is, tackle the projects that you really need the manpower on. Any other audience questions? Wanted to make sure we have time to get through any questions you have for these folks. Yeah.
My company is new to Zoho One. We're in implementation right now, so forgive me if this is a ignorant question. I was interested in something that Connor said a while ago, that you said you were using automated tickets when you detect that there's an issue, and I wondered if you could describe that and your use case and how that works in Desk.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two main scenarios in all of our workflows in CRM that do really anything. We have some try catch statements and a few other validation things we do at the end to make sure that there was no issues. An example is we had some data migration happen where there wasn't a contact inserted onto some site accounts. And so when we go to create all of at the end of the sale, when we're creating the accounts and the systems and the parts and stuff to prepare and install, there was no one to send it to for one of the steps, so it would fail. And before we had this logged, no one would notice it until someone re-looked at the system and said, hey, it's missing half the stuff. So that's one of the places where we will check it at the end. We also, when the sales pushed from our creator tool to the CRM, we recalculate all the values to make sure there was no bugs or anything in how we've calculated the margins, the costs one time versus the reoccurring fees and all that, just to make sure that there's some trust in those numbers being accurate. We've also had issues where someone mistakenly updates a value. They typed out 0.01 instead of 0.10 in a dollar field. And then those numbers sometimes will go into the contracts, and we want to make sure they're accurate. So there's not, customers looking at us and wondering why we can't do math properly. So we're able to lock that out. It pings our developers on those emergency ones at the beginning of the sale or at the end. We don't want to, those are the times we definitely don't want to slow the process down. And so we're able to handle those within 2 hours. Usually we have it solved before anyone's even realized there's an issue. And we're able to get them out. So it's been really nice.
Fantastic. Other questions from the audience?
Thank you. Well, you guys have, all three of you mentioned different things like custom, custom creator apps and things like that. But one thing that you, Connor, said specifically was mentioning like, oh, what's new in Desk, right? And so for me, I pretty much control all of the different platforms that we use. And so what's the best approach, or how do you guys approach trying to replace things that maybe when you started your Zoho journey, you had to piece these things together, and not spending too much time reverse engineering to plug something in and then miss, like you said, those things that fall through the cracks?
Yeah, that's like half my job really, is finding things that we did manually or were done in a certain way before. And sometimes we hear of a new feature. It's really these events, speaking with the Zoho people. There's experts in all categories. Zoho community is amazing. All the developers on my team use that religiously. If we've found something we can't figure out how to do, someone else has definitely found it already, asked about it, and had it resolved. And even not even from Zoho specifically, but other members of the community, they'll post pieces of code or how they've resolved a process or a limitation within Zoho. And so those are some really good resources. And that's kind of my first steps into solving that. In a lot of the Zoho apps, there's also a development like in progress roadmap. So there's a few features on there that we're tracking. An example is in Creator right now, file upload fields is a single file per field. And there's a few scenarios where we want, multiple files, like for special pricing, for quoting. And that's coming new. So right now we have 5 upload fields, but the minute that is finished, we're going to be swapping that up for one field that can have 5 separate files in it. It's going to be good.
RJ, Yafi, any same perspective on that same question?
Yeah, sure. So not every company can afford this, but we have a team of people at RJG called the Zoholics, actually. And there's like one person from each department. So we've got a marketing person, a customer support person, a salesperson, even in our international offices. And so they form a team of Zoholics. And if your department or your team needs a feature or a change or a process is changed, they get together and prioritize what is needed the most, and we make adjustments to the system based on the collective needs of the company. So we're always prioritizing what is needed for our teams to change within the system. So that's been a really good best practice, number one, from an implementation standpoint, because you have a representative from each department or team that can be the point person for the needs of that team and make sure that the system is updated and adjusted and optimized based on that. So that was kind of our approach, and it's been pretty successful. And if you can do that, I would recommend it. It's just an awesome way to continually optimize what you do as a business, and then what you do professionally as an individual.
And I'll add, for me, I'm a visual thinker. So everything with me lives in some sort of diagram because it helps me to remember why I'm doing what I'm doing. And when I see an integration that it can replace the code that we had to manually do to build a Learn document so we can remember why we wrote the code the way we did, because sometimes the developer that started the project didn't finish it, or they left the company and now someone else was like, so what is this? And now we can replace all that with a native integration. We can go back to the business use case diagram and go, okay, this was built to do A, B, and C. Can we do 80, 90% of it with this button? Yes, go for it. No, leave it as is. We'll come back. And then checking the roadmap and the community groups, lifesavers. You will know what's coming up. You can start to think ahead of it. And ask a question in these community groups and someone else has got an answer or a resource that you just didn't know was out there. And all of a sudden, 2 hours of brain damage done in minutes. So
That's such a great call out. Our community really is such a good space. If anyone wants to connect with them, they've got a booth in the expo hall as well. All very nice people. Any other questions? I think we have time for one more. Y'all gonna let me ask the last question? Oh, there we go.
For everybody, what's the coolest thing that you've done in Desk?
Whew. Wow. The coolest thing.
Define cool.
I would say for us, the integration to tie text messaging in with emails. So now, no matter how the customer contacts us, we've got that full history. Before, it was disjointed, living in two different systems because we just couldn't see either one. Now, right now, it's still a third-party marketplace extension that's tying into text messaging. Hopefully soon it's all native Zoho, and now I don't have to worry about another bill to pay. But however we can get that 360 view, I'm taking it the best way possible today and looking forward to seeing what tomorrow can bring.
This might be against the terms and agreements, but which third party did you go with?
I will have to look into it. Twilio's will we use for our phone program. So if you just search a marketplace extension for Twilio for Desk, whoever that provider is, that's what we're using.
Thank you.
It's maybe a little lame, but snippets actually, just being able to, an issue with our team is everyone communicates differently. Everyone was providing different information on how we're responding to bugs, how much information, hey, your problem's fixed, or here was the cause, here was the impact. It's a little different. So I was able to create some snippets in Desk and then share them with the entire team. So when a user gets a response back from us, they're going to get the same information every single time. That's going to contain everything they need to know about what happened, how we fixed it, and what the process was like.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's again that custom integration with Creator that allows us to do stuff that we've never been able to do before. So that's cool to us. Maybe not to you guys, but.
I think all three of those are very cool. I don't know if that meets your definition. Any more questions before we wrap up here? All right. Then I think we are just about time to let y'all loose for the day. Thank all three of you for being here. I really appreciate your time. Let's give our three panelists a big round of applause.